So we've got a bit of a short session, about 30 minutes to dive deeper into what we've heard this morning. We've focused mainly on what is the Spirit and how do we go about contacting, getting in touch, starting us on that kind of road. And for Aravind, you started off with the beginning of the day for your Upanishad by in which you really nicely illustrated the start of the journey from body to the end bliss. And so what I would like to do is start with that little question that we've started discussing, what is God? And go into a bit more depth. And so one of the questions that have come up is about the journey, essentially. How do we know we're making progress? It's obviously a huge question, we could probably spend lifetimes on it. But I just wanted to start by getting your thoughts on how do we know we're on the right track, right?
Well, actually, in the Bhrigavati story itself, it's clear, right? When he reached the ultimate, he didn't care to come back and report. Now, I feel the one sentence answer to that would be, the day you stop caring about whether you have made spiritual progress or not, you know that you have made that progress. But though that's the one sentence answer, the highest and the lowest appear the same. The yogi and the lazy guy both look same. So when you say I don't care about spiritual progress, we would be being very callous and careless. And that's why at a practical level, it's good to have some kind of measurement. So how I went about in my own life is about in two ways, frequency and intensity. So we have good traits, love, happiness, joy, compassion, sharing. And we have the negative traits, anger, irritation, frustration. On the frequency side, how frequently do I get angry? Okay. Similarly, how frequently do I feel Swami's presence? How frequently do I feel love? And on the intensity side, so there are times like, we'll fight. I fight with my wife, and for the next 4 hours, we just don't talk to each other. That's the intensity. Yeah, you just don't want to look at each other, and fight happens. But it's improved now. Now it has come to almost like a formula. We both sense it. We know it's very draining. We know it's very tiring. We just begin the fight. 2 minutes into it, like, I know where this is headed, right? Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't understand. Just for the sake of, we patch up. But I felt very intensely it was there. That same anger, that fight, anger, irritation all came. But now it's gone in about 10 minutes. So that's the intensity. So I feel at a practical level, for both good and bad qualities, can I increase the frequency for the good one and reduce the frequency for the bad? And can I increase the intensity? So when I feel this, as I said, satsang, I felt the effect for 1 day, can I push it to 2 days? And at the same time, can I push down the intensity? I feel this is a good way we can measure our spiritual progress.
Okay, so you're talking about essentially feedback from our spiritual practice, from our sadhana, in terms of frequency and intensity as well. Awesome. And for Venka, you've kind of touched on this with the Love and Work talk. Essentially, that frequency, persistence of practice is important. I feel like, from discussions, especially with young adults that I've had, sometimes people be like, they feel like they're trying, and they just keep trying to do what they're doing, and they feel like they're not receiving that feedback. And that can dishearten, and some phrases I've heard is like, well, I've tried it, maybe spirituality is not for me. How do you basically find that persistence in that headspace?
Wow. Before I answer that, I just want to add a little bit to Arvind's point, in that the feedback is actually in yourself. It's not somebody saying to you. People might say to you how they've noticed the change in you, but if you see yourself, this is my own experience, maybe getting angry a little bit less, or the bounce back from an episode of, say, feeling angry is shorter. For me, I think that's good, and I use that to encourage myself, to motivate myself. In terms of, okay, so this question of spirituality is not for me. That's a fallacy. Because spirituality is for everybody. Whether you know the Spirit is calling you or not, it's the Spirit that innovates you. It's the spirit that energizes you, that makes your limbs work. Because you don't know this. You only know this when you see a dead butterfly. Right? So I think we should start from this point that spirituality is not for me, spirituality is for you. Now, the way it looks, the way it's packaged, maybe not for you, but spirituality is absolutely for you. If it wasn't for you, and for all of us, then we'd just be corpses. Now, maintain that frequency, that intensity or consistency. You try something and you give up. Love Work's been going for almost 17 years. In August, there will be 17 years. I know there's one reason why it's been going, and where it goes, but we don't know. And it's the same reason that it's been going, and that is Swami's grace. Why Swami's grace? Because somewhere in our hearts, he put a little flame to say, I want to love you. Even if you don't reply to me or respond to me, you don't show me. Now, you will, if you go back over the presentation, I just realized this. I didn't realize this when I was putting it together. But there aren't any stories of miracles. None of the Love Workers shared stories of this great thing happened. I did this and this happened. This is my own humble opinion, I don't think it works like that. I don't think it's transactional. I don't think it's linear. And therein lies the rub, because we expect transactionality and we expect things to be linear. So I pay $5, I get a mocha. We expect it like that. I think we need to get out of that mindset and say there are some things in life that are absolutely non-linear. They are complex, adaptive systems. That's the terminology that we use to describe something that we don't understand, that adapts to the situation that it's in. And it's a system that's put together in a number of different elements. I'll give you an example. Teaching a child to speak. You can say, there's a great video on YouTube of this Bangladeshi guy who lives in the States. He's filmed his kid over like a couple of years learning to say the word water in Bangla. I think that's the language. And so he's filmed this kid, videoed this kid over so many months. And so they take the kid to show him water in a bathtub, water in a cup, putting it on his head, etc. And they're saying water, water, water. Well, he doesn't say it. He doesn't say this word. And one day, this word tumbles out of this boy's lips. Water in Bangla. Was it the bathtub experience? Was it his grandparents saying, son, this is water? Was it the water pouring? We don't know. But it came somewhere in its own time. All they had to do was put in the effort. So for me, a certain bit of faith is required. The faith, I think, has to start with a little bit of faith. To say, okay, I'm going to just give this a go, and I'm not going to give this up. And pardon my use of the word, bloody-minded. I'm going to just stick at this. I'm going to do 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 this, whether I get results or not. And leave the results to him, really. I think that the spark of love is put by him. If we don't feel it there, we beg him and say, please put that spark of love in me. Please put that in me. Because there's no other life without you, I'm incapable. I don't seem to be getting anywhere. I still have all these bad qualities. I'm not making it, but please, can you please put that spark in me? Please don't desert me. Please let your name be the last thing I remember as life leaves me. So I think a little bit of faith and a whole lot of just keeping at it. And we are very lucky because we know the branches outside Allah. We know him. So we can say, he told us. And go from there. I'm sorry if that's a bit long or a bit the person who's asked this, but that's my experience.
At an intellectual level, just one thing, if somebody says spirituality is not working, what I would say is, please go ahead and see what works there. You try it out, you will see that nothing works and you will come back. But you will come back wiser with your own experience. So if possibly that's the path for you. So when somebody says, Swami is not responding to me, they expect me to justify if I say, no, Swami is loving this. No, but brother, it didn't happen to me. So nowadays I've learned when they say Swami is not working, I say go ahead, seek Shiva, seek any god or become an atheist. Whatever works, no problem, be at peace. No, nothing works, right? You're just trying to find shortcut. Or if they go, if they're genuinely saying, let them try it out, because they ultimately will come back. I'm saying this because there was an atheistic professor who came to be the chief guest for the Satsang University this thing. And karma is such that his wife is a devout, pious lady. They just both are like, they have lived 15 years with each other. She's a theist, he's an atheist. And he said, I don't understand this karma theory. I said, I don't believe it. I told him, if you don't believe karma theory, come up with an intellectual, rational explanation of why things happen the way they happen. You will come almost to the karma theory or something very close to that only, So I feel, let them free, let them go. If you don't believe, if you feel spirituality is not working, please find what works and let us know, we'll add it. Because that's how the entire Indian Vedanta has grown. In fact, in Bharatiya Vedanta, Nastika, meaning atheism, is a pathway to God. Because when people said that this is not working, they said, great, go find out what works, but once you get it, come and add to our research, okay? And that's how it has grown. So no problem in that. That would be my answer.
If the professor was a scientific person, it is scientific karma, every action is equal in opposite reaction. So it is scientific, there's no question about it. So does he really know the science behind it? Every action is equal in opposite reaction, right? So what goes around comes around. It's a common language. So it's a fact. What's there to prove is true. It's already been discovered and proven anyway.
But that requires, you're absolutely right, that requires a little bit of reflection, not reaction. And reaction is maximum literally. This sucks. This is boring. That's a reaction. It's almost visceral. If you pause for a second and just reflect, then some higher parts of your mind get engaged. And you think, actually, everything has an equal and opposite reaction. There are no other alternatives. I've tried everything else. Nothing else works. If you reflect for just a little bit, and you don't have to be a religious person or a spiritual person to reflect. Everybody's got a mind. You can just sit, pause for a few minutes and say, okay, this is not working. Why not? What is good for me? What do I know? What is the truth? I think we're all capable of that. Whether we're cobblers, tobacconists, or people with PhDs, or students, or we're all capable of reflecting. And I use these examples because these are stories of Swami's devotees.
This is the sentence law. Don't consider the obvious. Don't go into too much. Swami says, what's the best city to live in? What's the best city? He says simplicity. Okay, make it simple. Why are we complicating with the whole philosophical theories of it? It's obvious. The sentence law. Go consider the most obvious things first, then go deeper.
So thanks so much for that. That's quite a obviously a deep and vast question that we've made to chip in, and so thank you so much for that. I nearly fell into it.
Almost.
I was going to say Anna, which is brother and thigh.
I don't understand complicated. Keep it simple. I'm joking. You can ask anything. No question is unfair.
Well, see, that's the question then. So, how do we keep essentially on? We're all at different. The word stage is a bit harsh to use, but we're all at different points in our journey. How do we keep looking for the next step in our journey simple?
It's very complicated for me, brother. I just wanted to answer the first question you asked, Brother Aravind, how to know that you are advancing spiritually. That will probably answer your question that you've asked me. Swami says, time waste is life waste. You can get anything back in life, but time once gone, you never get it back. So your moments, every one of us here in this hall, will make mistakes, will get angry, will get upset, will get this and that. But restrict it to only a few minutes at the most, so don't waste your time. Think of the mere fact that time is catching up. If you are angry, if your wife is angry with you, or you are angry with your wife, you're angry with the children, leave it for temporary seconds to minutes. And if you're doing it less and less, when you're letting go quicker, you're making good spiritual progress. No one should be able to judge you. You're the only judge for your own self.
That's very beautiful when he says you're the only judge, because I remember, a teacher was there, chemistry lecturer. He would come every time he takes chemistry class. If Swami has delivered a discourse, which would be about 12 times a year or 14 times a year, on that, the next class he'll come and he starts off by saying, tell me what did Swami tell in this discourse. What did he say? Each one of us, all 15 of us have to tell. And the ones who would not be listening to the discourse closing, they would fight for the first slot, because he would say, Swami said that love you should, because love he would have said anyway, right? So, but I used to always think, let me be the last answer, because having everyone covered, can I cover something? But then I saw that that wasn't necessary at all, because whoever has listened to the discourse is telling one thing, you know? And you wonder whether all of them sat in the same discourse. I'm talking about the same discourse. He's telling about love, he's telling about service. And then I used to think, yeah, in fact, in one discourse, you will see Swami contradicting himself. Like in the beginning he says, don't ask, adugakve o manasa, don't ask. God knows better than you, just shut up and receive. In the end, he is concluding by saying, God is your everything. Open up. Whatever you want to ask God. Like, no, which do I follow? Which is... So then I realized, when I heard that discourse, I really felt I don't want to ask anything from God. That is true for me. Imagine you are a teacher. If you have to teach what is ABC, you will ask me which grade. Because I ask, they say you have to speak. What is the age group I am speaking to? Because if I have to teach ABC to a PhD student, the way I am saying it is different. I don't know, irrational numbers, whatever. If I have to teach it a kindergarten, ABC is different. Right? So, imagine I tell, no, there are 4 kindergartners, 4 4th standard, 4 PhD students. What will you teach in that class? Oh my God, ABC for each one means different. That is the challenge Swami faces when he gives his discourse. All of us literally are from KG to PG. All of us in our spiritual evolution are from kindergarten to this. So he gives out something that's relevant to all. But what is it for me? Which part inspired you? That's a personal one. You felt, right? You felt that I don't want to ask anything from Swami. That is for you. You don't know whether that is higher than or lower than asking everything from Swami. But because it resonated in your heart, that is the message for you. That is the reason why 10 people are asked what is Swami's discourse. Each of them tells something because that resonated with them. So how do you know what's your next point? How do you know what's your next point? What resonates in your heart is your next point.
Just to continue that, I think that's a beautiful thread that we've got going. The question was, how do you take the next step? Right? To circle back to that, I think it's very important to take this step, and the next step will come. I want to share 2 experiences of this. My first job in medicine was at the Prashant General Hospital. Okay? I hadn't even started working for Queensland Health. And
Blessed first job.
yes, now I think back and I think, my God, what happened? You know, it was incredible. And I was under the mentorship of one of the doctors at the General Hospital. And he sat me down and he just said, all you've got to do is take his name over and over again. Just take his name over and over again. Yes, you'll be practicing medicine, you'll be doing all sorts of things, but just keep taking his name over and over and over and over again. And he said that that's what Swami told him to do. And so he did that. And he said for 16 years, 16 years, that's all he did. Om Saram, Om Saram, Om Saram, Om Saram. Every moment he got, Om Saram, Om Saram, Om Saram, Om Saram. And I said, because he was telling us, and I said, then what happened, sir? And he said, then Swami told me a different practice. And I said, because I haven't even started the journey, but I want to know the next step. Remember the question? I want to know the next step. I said, sir, what was that sadhana? What would he said, that I can't tell you. So the master will tell you, I feel, the master will tell you the next step. That's been my personal experience too. One day, when I was working at Waikato Hospital, and I was walking across the bridge, I think it's the Victoria Bridge or something, someone came past me and on a bicycle and pulled over on the side of the road. Helmet, he's got his trousers, his work trousers, tucked into his little clip there for cycling purposes, so you don't rip it on the chain. Who was it? He's got the headphones on, right? What a gangster. And that's a good word. Okay. Who is this guy? The headphones. Who is this guy? None other than Brother Venga. Or Venga as I call him. Right? What a cool guy. And so he's seen me walking, so he stopped. And he wanted to say hello. If he hadn't stopped, I wouldn't have, I would have kept walking. And I said, what have you got in your headphones? And I said, you're cycling, what have you got in your headphones? He goes, I'm just listening to Swami's discourse. He said, every day when I cycle, I just listen. He cycled from home to his office and back, listen to Swami's discourse. I thought, this is so cool. Up till that point, I didn't have that practice. When I saw that, I thought, this is really cool. I don't cycle, but I commute. It's a simple thing I can do. So from that day, I started to do this. And to this day, I still listen to Swami's discourses on Discourse Stream. And whenever I have time, I listen to other talks, good talks by Brother Aravind. Radio Sai has got an absolute cornucopia of good material. And that's my other point that I want to make. Is just be surrounded by good inputs, but all the time. Not just, oh, I listened to Brother Arvind's talk. That was really great, fantastic, let's go back to life. But all the time, every opportunity. And Bhagan actually changed my practice. So he showed me a way, a really simple way of just listening to Swami's words. Listening to the Master's words, I feel he comes and shows you the next step. And it's a really cool thing. When he shows you, it's a really cool thing. You think, yes, because you gave this to me. I'll not do this till you tell me the next step. It's beautiful.
I think you touched on it yesterday. In spirituality, you do one and you do it's not like that. I mean, you come to a stage where, like, you can't say, I will sing bhajans, like you said. You can't say, oh, I'm going to just go to study circles. You can't say, I'm just going to do seva. Sorry. So, there's no one, we are using a lot of Western concepts. Oh, so step one is this, there's no step. It's a wholesome growth. So if you can't say that I'm just going to exercise my hands and only exercise my legs, right? Because you'll fall down, okay? Because everything is wholesome. So in spiritual life, you grasp the moment, do anything that you have to do. The most important thing is, like, if you have something better to do than going to a study circle on Friday, for example, you have to go to night club or go to study circles, decide what's best for you. It is an opportunity that we have, so it is not regimented. The spiritual is wholesome growth. You have to really encompass everything the Swami has given. There are points of contact, 9 points of contact. We know the 9 points of contact. So it's not said just do one thing or do that thing. And it's not step by step. It's a wholesome growth. But whatever opportunity comes to you, just grasp it. We talk to Swami and say, give me this opportunity, Swami, of saving you. When we have that opportunity every second of our life, we're not opening our eyes and ears to do that, are we? So we have to be open to that. And I think what brothers have talked about today is hopefully purifying our senses, so our antenna is more open and tuned.
Dinesh, I really liked this thing about wholesome and this sort of overall holistic approach. And there was a great example just before we got on with Sister Ekta, just before we got on stage. She did mindful practices from the toes to our neck, didn't leave anything out. And that's kind of illustrative of what you're saying, isn't it? And the other thing is, another thing I hear sometimes is people saying, oh, I'm not a...
If someone else can sing better than me, why should I waste well, I won't waste, but I want people to be more motivated and more inspired by better singers. But I love bhajan the best. I want everyone to know here. Of all the silence. Okay?
Yeah, you're slicing the best.
He gets labeled, yeah. You have to say it is so that wholesomeness, it's like, imagine Monday have carbs, Tuesday have proteins, Wednesday have vitamins. No, you can't. Monday you will have all the things. I like that concept of a wholesome food. And when it came to seva, Swami had told all of us once when we said, Swami, we want to do this seva. Swami said, why are you asking me? Swami said, seva is your right. It's your right, you should demand it. So that is the concept Swami has about service. It's not something that you ask permission for. In fact, when somebody asked Swami, said, did you have food today? Yeah. You didn't ask me. Went to the restroom? You didn't ask me. You just got up and went, whoever had whatever. Why are you asking me this? If you feel it's important, it's priority, you will do it. That's how we will do the seva.
Yeah, amazing. So now that we've come to the topic of seva in the last 3 minutes that we had, I just wanted to ask you, because we've touched on things like duty from Dinesh Anna's talk. I just want to, so some might find a little bit of a clash here. So for example, there's a Dhamma called Tiruvallur, which is done Tirukkural. One of those is that raising good kids is the best service you can do to society. And so that can be like another, so basically that family life is a pathway to service to man, which is service to God. And some may say that essentially I'm too busy with my family, I can't go out and do service. Too busy with my family, can't go to functions. Too busy with my family, can't do service activities. What would you say to that in terms of like the clash between organizational work and personal work in that way?
So again, you know, it's not to be seen in isolation, in wholesomeness. For example, if you're saying that I have a family to take care and I don't want to. I remember, because this is what I said, when I shifted to Bangalore, it was important for me to find a job that pays me as per Bangalore standards, which I have to earn. I have 2 small kids to take care, and I was called to head a samiti or become a convener or something. I said, no, I don't want it. I left Vatican and come, I don't want to take a church here, or something like that, you know. I have come from headquarters, man, I don't want. Because I knew this is my thing that I have to set right first. And believe me, I have no regrets about it. If somebody is saying, I'm not able to attend bhajan, you know, what should I do? But I have work now. Why are you feeling bad? If you sincerely feel that you are taking care of your family as Swami's job to you, you will not be feeling bad. There is some part which tells you that you are using your family as an excuse to bunk seva. That's why you are feeling guilty. Swami says conscience is alive in everyone, even in a terrorist, Swami says. Because we had asked, not me meaning not me, but we had asked whether Swami possibly they don't have conscience. I mean, no, conscience is absolute. Everyone has a conscience. It depends whether you listen to it or not. I'm saying this because one brother came and said, you know, Swami came into my dream and said, I have to marry her. What do you think I should do? I said, marry her then. No, but can I ask her, should I ask, when should I said, see, brother, really, either you don't have faith that Swami is God, or you just like her and you're cooking this up, you know, as an excuse. Because if Swami had told me, you know, that girl is your wife, go and marry her, I would have just gone and said, you marry her. And then I can proceed later on, because directly I'm just following the command.
That's right.
Then, so if I'm not following it, either Swami has not told me, or Swami has told and I don't believe he is divine. So, in the same way, all of this is important. Yes, in fact, I am holding myself against, because next my theme is about balance. I don't want to release that. But it's definitely about, if you are, it is important. I have my role as a son, as a husband, as a father, as an organization member, everything. But what is important at that point in time from inside, Swami will tell. And when I am in sync with it, automatically I do. And when I am using family as an excuse, using work as an excuse, possibly I allow Brother Dinesh to share something. And then I want to come back to this aspect about when people say, I have work to do, I would love to do seva, but I have work to do. I would like to share one example after this.
I hope I don't steal your talk. You talked about...
you owe him because he stole your
There's no doubt charity begins at home, right? But there's also another thing Swami talked about, sealing on desires. How much personal self-help you want to provide to your family? There has to be a ceiling to that, okay? Do you want to, send your children to universities and let them become professors? Then you get old and then you go and save. So there has to be a ceiling on what you are limiting for your family time and for the other time. That is very important, because otherwise there will be no limits. I have to do this for my family, I have to do that for family. It has to be enough. And the other thing you have to remember is Swami says, you do my work, I will do your work. If you know that God is there, I can tell you, I used to go to Puttaparthi for 1 month working there. My children will be perfectly normal. When I come home and I'm with them, they are sick all the time. I have to run to the hospital. What I'm saying that God looks after your welfare when you set up a minimum standard for them and then go and do His work. That is my practical experience. You can ask my wife, you can ask my children about it. But this is all I can say. This is what I've learned from Swami.
Before we finish, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so somehow I've had many brother Venkats in my life inspiring me. There's another brother Venkat, his name is Venkat Desikal. I was just bound by this thing, you know. I used to find him, still find him. I mean, every weekend he's at Puttaparthi and doing some seva or the other. I mean, those guys have now set up elderly care home completely manned by volunteers. And I'm just wondering, this one is off. Yeah. So how do you find time? Yeah, you just suddenly start. Yeah. So it's not just when two people speak, if two mics are on, also it comes feedback. So how is this Venkat Desikan doing all this? And then I find him in Bangalore, he's involved with an orphanage. And then in the hospital, he's doing registration seva. I'm like, Venkat, oh man, you are like omnipresent. You're everywhere. He said, yeah, he's at least 5 years senior to me. I said, don't you have work pressure? I know, thankfully, but Swami's grace, no. I said, which company is that? Yeah, I would like to join. And then I get to know, it's not that he has less workload. But what often happens is you join at a junior level, you become good at what you do. This is the general corporate life. You become good at what you do, you're promoted. You do good at that, you're promoted. Then you do even more good at that, you're promoted. And finally you reach a level where you suck. You don't like that. And because you are sucking there, you're kept there. So the corporate life is your evolution to your point of highest sucking. And that's where you will remain forever. You're like, I'm a good coder, let me code. No. You have reached manager level. I'm a bad manager. So you'll remain a manager all your life. You know, Venkat saw through this rat race. And so what he said, he went one day to his boss and he said, see, for me, for fulfillment in life, this is a combination of everything. That's why I said it's not in isolation. It is sealing on desires, it's knowing priorities, it's about having courage. He discussed it with his wife. He went and told his boss that, you know what, in my appraisal, I don't want a promotion, please. Because when you promote me, you know it, that it's not that the corporate is compassionate and loving and giving you more money. They know that they can juice out 4 times more from you, that's why they're promoting you. She said, I don't want a promotion. But I don't want you to touch my Saturday and Sunday at any cost. And I will keep taking my complete quota of leaves for the year. My work leave, my official leave, my sick leave. And my sick leave is because somebody else is sick and I want to serve them. He never gets sick only, just imagine. Because he's doing seva, I've never seen him sick at all. Never gets fever, never gets cold, he's going and serving the sick people. And he said, I want to utilize all of that. And now it's been almost 8 years. So many of his juniors have gone ahead. He gets some basic increment, I feel that is a compassion and Swami's grace, that is that, like after 3 years, they just give him some increment. But his position has remained same and he has no regrets. He says, I'm so happy. I'm so fulfilled because he tells, brother, Swami has taught us how to live within means. It's enough, I can live. To beat inflation, that much increment anyway they give. I feel that was very innovative. We never think of that. We say, what to do? I don't have time. How? We become very good at our job. Then we take on more. We take on more. There's no end on it. I moved from a $6,000 car to a $60,000 car to a $600,000 car. Where is the end to our greed for toys? I don't need to transport, go from point A to point B. It's enough. As brother Dinesh told me, I'm happy with Kia. क्योंकि क्या किया सेवा किया So this is brother Venkat whom I felt that really I shown a practical way. Your work life is coming, reach a level, be comfortable, have a ceiling on desire, this much is enough for me, and have the guts to just tell I don't want any promotions, I don't want increment, I'll remain at this level, I'm good at this. Because you're good at it, what is taking 5 hours a day for you to do now, tomorrow you do it in 3 hours a day. Additional 2 hours, competitive seva.
That's, now that Venkat is inspired this Venkat. And just one thing I want to just add, the question you asked was about looking after the family and doing seva and other activities. I believe we cannot address this question without looking at this half. Because our sisters, our mothers, our wives, well, one wife, but collectively, I have seen, I have experienced running a family, children who don't progress, as Dinesh says, linear path, they get sick, this and that, we all know it, looking after them, and working, probably some of them are working outside the home, and doing seva activities. Even if you're not working outside the home, it's not a full-time job looking after the family. It's actually more than a full-time job. It's day and night. A full-time job is 9 to 5. So I don't think we can even begin to address this question without having this half of the room involved in the debate or this question. And I think it's probably in the future we should really try to have a little bit more balance so that questions like this we can we can listen to their answers.
And Brother Venkat has stolen about 15% of my next speech. But yes, definitely, because it has come, I wanted to do that in the next talk about balance. I want to raise my hand and definitely express my. She's not watching it because she might be asleep, but yeah, if not for puja, nothing. All of you come and praise me and tell, brother, you inspired us so much. When I'm not some superhuman. There are moments when I feel so shitty, so bad. And at that time, it's puja who brings me up. I'm like, you've got 3 kids here. You bring up those 2 and me also. So I tell her many times, you come and give a talk. She says, nah, that's not for me. But she keeps me motivated. She keeps me up. And never comes in the way. She's dropping the kids home back there now. She's doing a full-time job with an Australian company. She gets up at 4:30 in the morning. She cooks my breakfast because I have a call at 10:30. Makes the lunch. I try to help in, but it just cannot. It's phenomenal. And I tell her directly that till now I used to feel that half the merit I earn because of the talks and people I touch is going to come to you. I think it's more than half is going to come because you make it possible, and thank you, Brother Venkat, for bringing it up. Really, really grateful to all the wives, who make it possible. And despite that, they are the ones in larger attendance. Hats off.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Just 1 second. If you read Swami's Dharma series, you will be surprised to see there's about 10 to 15 page write-up by Swami on Dharma of women, only half a page for Dharma of men.
Sai brothers, thank you so much. Everyone sign on, everyone. That's our first panel session. There will be another more balanced panel later on in the program as well. More of your questions are to come. Hand over to the MCs. Thank you so much, Sai.